Welcome to the Rogue Asset Podcast. I am beyond excited. I have one of my favorite people in the house that I'm going to introduce you guys to. This is my homegirl, man. This is my girl. She stays on the grind. This is Shauna Smith. She's a marketing strategist, a brand specialist, and a business mentor. Let me tell you a little bit about who she is. Shauna Smith is the founder of the Marketing Muse 360. She's an accomplished marketing strategist with over 12 years of experience empowering entrepreneurs and businesses to grow through innovative branding and content strategies. From working with startups to helping secure multi-million-dollar funding, Shauna's expertise lies in coaches, consultants, and tech founders how to tell their stories, attract investors, and build sustainable brands. With a passion for education and community, she collaborates with organizations like G-Men, GoDaddy, and Investment Atlanta, designing impactful business cohorts that blend creativity, teamwork, and practical tools for success. Shauna has a unique talent for making complex marketing concepts accessible, ensuring that everyone, from budding entrepreneurs to seasoned professionals, can unlock their full potential. She's passionate about sharing insights on marketing trends, personal branding, and leveraging AI in content strategy. Shauna's mission is to inspire the next generation of business leaders to think big, innovate boldly, and create unforgettable experiences. Shauna Smith, welcome to the Rogue Asset Podcast.
Thank you, sir.
You embody what this podcast is about. This podcast is about entrepreneurs that are unheralded. I invite them here because I am giving them their flowers, damn it. That is what it's about. It's about those that are assets. They're rogue. They do things at their own pace, the way they want to do them, and the way they consider to be most effective. They don't follow anybody's playbook except their own. So that is why you're here. We're going to jump right into it. Shauna, can you share the journey that led you to create the Marketing Muse 360?
Well, I guess you would say it started with real estate. My first business was not marketing. It was a real estate business. So I had a brokerage. It was called HomeWise Solutions. So it was a lease purchase business during the crash. I really didn't pay attention to the crash. I just wanted to help other people not lose everything like I had just done. And from that, I created events. I had all these relationships. I mean, all these things just evolved. And I was just being naturally me, doing what I thought would work to help other people, to save other people like myself. And next thing you know, this woman evolved. And I was like almost homeless to having this huge office space with like 6 business partners. That's when I met Peter. Peter was rocking with me. Like, it was crazy. And at some point during that time, I had a shift of like, it was too much I didn't match who I was becoming in my mind. What do they call that? Imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome.
Because I was asking all the people who work with me, why do y'all listen to me? They were like, because you have the vision. And I was like, and from that moment, I never questioned it again. But that's how it started. Okay.
So what inspired your focus on marketing and business mentorship?
It was because after 4 years of doing real estate and hating everything about it, the contracts, the super key, the fussing with realtors, like, I hated it so much. But I loved building that business. And it was so easy and flawless, and I just breathed it. And I'm like, well, why don't I help other people do that? And then it just grew and grew, and I educated myself. And before I got into real estate marketing, I did try to do international marketing and flew my happy self to Brazil to try to start from real estate to the hills of Brazil somewhere. And quickly realized I need to bring it on home and do some stuff before I go out into international. So I was deep in the hills of Brazil, about to launch my marketing first. Nobody knows that.
So I like that. You know, Brazil is one of my favorite places. So you were in the hills.
I flew there by myself, got a Brazilian phone. This guy met me, took me to the bus, and I was 4 hours inside of Brazil in this small town. trying to market.
Oh my gosh.
Then it was like, we need you to help me market this monkey. It's extinct. And I'm in the jungle. The water was right. I was like, no, I'm going home. No.
That is, man, that is see who we're dealing with already. What does that tell you? That tell you we have not just a regular entrepreneur, right? we definitely have a rogue, but we have an adventurer.
Listen, that was wild. It was wild.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So now that we're kind of on this, and let me try to get a baseline here. So what's your biggest fear? Because hearing that, there's not much fear. So what is your biggest fear?
I guess my biggest fear now, after all these years in business, is really staying away from stress and negative people. It's not really a fear. It's just I'm hypersensitive to it. Because I know so many people. I just lost a friend actually 3 days ago from stress, sickness. And I remember when she first had a stroke.
My condolences.
10 years ago when she disappeared from this, we were working together and all of a sudden we were like, where did she go? And she had a stroke and never was the same and was never able to really live out this business dream that she wanted. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget it. And it was like she just had so much stress. And so I vowed to, like, when I start seeing it bubble up and I start seeing drama and all this, that's when I start getting a little jumpy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to leave. I'll leave organizations. I'll leave a client. I will leave anything to not deal with drama. Wow. And I'm not saying I won't deal with it because there's a level of drama in business, you know that. But unnecessary egos, I'll say. And you know those that you just go in this circle of we're going round and round the circle, not getting anything done.
Not getting anything done.
And you have to just cut that relationship or that scenario or that organization.
Right.
That's really my only thing that I'm hypersensitive about.
Okay. That makes sense. Whew, yeah.
You went there, right? You saw some of those.
Oh, yeah. I'm having flashbacks. Because I've definitely been through my share of drama in multiple businesses, big egos, and those are definitely to be feared, and avoided.
Yeah,
you know,
because I think my biggest lesson that I've learned that I think about every day is who am I surrounding myself with? Because if it's not the right people, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's not going anywhere. I'm just going to get caught up in that loop of nonsense. So I was just thinking as I was driving here, I'm really looking at my circle like I need to level up a little bit more. So I need to bring someone around me who can help me level up. And so when we walked in, you were like, yeah, let's get this done. Let's get this business. And I'm like, see, that's that type of vibe I need to be around.
Yeah, it's man, you're putting me in a weird, odd place right now because I remember, at least we have that freedom. You know what I mean? I remember being in an industry where I didn't necessarily have that freedom, right? Because the career progression almost necessitates that I have to be around or curate this circle of people or friends to advance that I'm not even comfortable. I don't want to mess with those people, right? But other people are like, my partners are telling me like, I have to, you know, and I'm like, it's so unnatural of me. That's not my tribe, right? Yeah. But I am forced to kind of go along with the plan and kind of be amongst and roll with people that, you know what I mean? That's not really, those are not my people. Yeah. You understand? And so just being in other industries where I can actually make those decisions independently is just...
It's a game changer, isn't it?
It's a game changer. It's priceless.
It's major.
Yeah. So, okay. So that takes me to what challenges did you face when building your brand and how did you overcome them?
You know, Darren, I really miss the times when I really didn't give a damn about it. There are times when you're in business where you can't really see anybody and you're just so deep in the grind and you have this group of people around. When I had my real estate company, I loved the vibe we had. Like, it was so tunnel vision. And we really were unstoppable. Like, we were going into banks and talking to bank owners, walking in like gangsters. Like, listen, you can't sell this stuff. You need to give it to us.
Right.
And I love that feeling. But when I popped out of them and doing my own thing by myself, thinking about what people think about you, it starts to become, you start to see it. Like, do I care what people think? And now I'm not surrounded by this protective village of my staff or my business partners. Now it's just me and my marketing director. It's just her and I. And so now the magnifying glass is really on my every move, right? And who do you think you are to have the audacity to try to do this, Shauna? Or at the time, my business partner was Japanese, and a lot of people were upset because I had a Japanese business partner.
Really?
Oh my God! I was like, why are these people out here trying to kill me just because she's Japanese? What difference does it make?
Right.
But, oh my God, I had so much judgment on me. And I think that's when it got a little tough. And I had to, like, pop myself back into my own, like, tunnel vision. Like, now I do content and I don't care what people think. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I look back and go, dang, you were just saying anything. You just didn't care, did you? Like, I've done so much content. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I had no idea I didn't care what people think. To do this much content for this long on video, pictures, man, you really have to not care what people think. Right. But you have your moments where you're like, are people going to think this is dumb? Like the book. Are people going to think this is dumb if I put this book out? You know, and I had 2 years of caring what people think because I didn't tell anybody about it. So, you know, you have that sometimes.
That's my superpower. I have never given a flying anything what people think.
That's great.
I remember I was talking to a business partner of mine one time, and we were talking about something, and she said, well, don't say this to this person. They may laugh at you. And I said, really? Great. I definitely will say it now because I want them to laugh at me, right? Please, I'm an immigrant kid, right? I came from Jamaica. I've been laughed at, been ridiculed. It never had any effect on me, one bit.
Wow.
Right? I came here, started school. Please, I didn't even know my clothes were supposed to match.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, I think being an immigrant kid is a great advantage. I think it is huge. It's almost like living here, growing up here, it's like being a rich kid and you don't even know it. Because you don't really see all the things that we have to offer. Yeah. People from other countries come here and crush it. Yeah. Right in front of our face.
Well, there is a difference. I was telling somebody this story about a week ago. I said, when I first started making friends when I came to America, I had a friend and he was like, I was supposed to go over his house one day and he was like a little reluctant in me coming over. And I'm like, what's the problem? He's like, yeah, we're poor. I live in the projects. And I'm all excited. I'm like, the projects? What's the projects, right? So finally, I went over there. And keep in mind, I'm thinking, he said he's poor, right? So I'm not expecting much. But we go, there's a building with concrete walls. There's an elevator, right? We ride up to his floor. He opens the door. I see furniture, right? His mom is in the kitchen cooking. There's running water. And I'm like, dude, I thought you said you were poor. Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, we are. I'm like, listen, where I come from, that's not poor. You understand? That is not poor. I was raised by my grandparents up to a certain age while my mom was away at college. And I didn't realize, to me, I wasn't poor, right? I didn't realize it, but compared to that project apartment that I had just walked in, my grandparents had a one part of the house held 2 rooms. Across, you'd have to go outside and go in to another structure, which was the kitchen, and the floors were dirt.
Wow.
Right? To go to the toilet, you kind of went down the hill. It was, outhouse type structure. And even with that, I didn't realize that that was any, there was so much love and so much everything else. But the point that I'm trying to make, you compared that structure to this building that I'm now in.
The fact that you walk down the hill to the bathroom.
And we had no running water.
Wow.
That toilet down the hill did not flush. Okay? So there's definitely a difference in the mentality of what poor and poverty is.
Yeah.
What I saw was something fully functional and opportunity. Not disadvantage, opportunity. You understand?
Yep.
So when we arrive, we're seeing opportunity. We're not seeing disadvantage. Okay, my dad's first car in America was a Nissan, right? And it was kind of missing the floorboard on one side. So we're on the highway. I could see I could see the highway going by. But my dad used that car to work like 4 different jobs. Okay, that was opportunity. And I learned a great lesson from all of that. The lesson that I learned from my dad, he taught me a lot of lessons, but some of them he literally taught by demonstration, by the way he lived out his life.
Yeah.
My dad had at the time, he's passed away, may he rest in peace. I'm speaking of past tense. But he came to the United States with a master's degree. But the way the educational system is set up in America, they don't respect anybody's degrees unless it was earned here.
Right.
Right? So he had a master's degree from the University of West Indies. And he didn't complain. He had to support his family. So he worked the jobs that he could get. He worked at Friendly's Ice Cream. He did inventory. Right? He worked at like a hardware store called Rickles. He did so many, whatever he could kind of put together. Because when we came, my mom was pregnant. Within months, she had my youngest brother. And so he had to do what he had to do. And what I learned from that is you do what you have to do until you could change your situation, but you're constantly using that to build and you don't complain. You don't complain.
And that's what we're missing.
Right.
The complaining piece.
There's a complaining piece, plus everyone is trying to get to somewhere quick without paying any dues, without putting any work.
Yeah, and not understanding that you have to have patience to build.
Right.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
And anything that does happen overnight, you better be careful.
Yeah. And regardless of what the situation is, there are disadvantages, there are going to be disparities. I was also told that once I arrived in America, what everything was, that there was not going to be quality, that I was going to have to be 2 or 3 times better than the next white guy in order to get to wherever I was looking to go.
Interesting.
Right? So I never really focused on whether things were fair or whether they aren't fair, right? Because I was taught that they were not going to be from the jump.
Right.
And what my responsibility and what part that I was going to play in that. Don't look for equality. You just have to be better.
Exactly.
Right? And so...
going back to the non-complaining piece.
Right, the non-complaining piece. So, we focused on education and opportunity. Period.
I mean, and this is what you always hear. I have a lot of friends from all over the world, and this is what you always hear.
Yeah.
I came here to do the work. If it's going to take me 10 years, I'm going to do the work. If I got to work 3 jobs, if I have to work in the middle of the night, if I only make $3 an hour, I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to say over and over again, the man got me down, or this person, or, everybody always. I mean, I just do not like to be around people who complain. Because at the same time you're complaining, you're not actually doing the work.
Right.
They usually don't go together.
I don't mind if you complain and you're changing, you're making a difference. But if you're making complaints and excuses, that's where the issue comes in. So, that's a part of branding. If you're a non-complainer, that is, as far as I'm concerned, that is a strong branding factor. All right. So, Shauna, how do you approach creating effective marketing strategies for businesses across different industries?
Well, I always start with the person I'm dealing with, because even though a strategy may be okay, for realtors, do this. Or if you sell cars, do this. The problem with those strategies does the person have the ability to do those things? Because some people are shy. Some people don't want to be on the camera like this. Some people don't even want to talk to people, but they're highly talented. So you have to figure out what you are working with and build a strategy around that. That's how kind of I work. I do look at what works for everybody because everything kind of has like a rhythm or a model of how it works. We'll just stay with real estate because, we both know that. To sell houses, there's certain things you need to do. Everybody who's been successful has kind of done the same thing, depending on them. If you're a very attractive person and very open and, happy to talk to people, well, you may go a little further faster because you're going to do what will attract more people because people in real estate are like following brands. I want you to sell my house because you're popular. Mm-hmm. And then you got to be good. But if you're just good and not popular, it may be a little harder for people to find you. Mm-hmm. And you know how real estate is. There's thousands of real estate people. So how are you going to step out outside of all these people? Well, it's either how you look, how you sound, where you are, what you've done, and how did you put that out into the world. But if you take somebody who's very, very shy and doesn't want to put like pictures of how they look, they can do a bomb podcast. Right? They can do a podcast. They can do interviews of people in a city, like all the business owners can say, this is my city. And if you want to move to my city, I know everybody here. That's going to make people want to buy from that person too. So you see how it's different depending on the human. And so a lot of times people in marketing don't focus on the person and they force them in these little pockets to do this. And it doesn't get done because it's just not who they are. Right. So I like the authenticity of what are your strengths, who are you want to work with, and what's going to be the best path when I'm gone for you to do it by yourself. Right. So that's kind of how I look at it.
And I completely agree with that because I sat in on something this week where they were kind of pushing video marketing. And the person making the presentation was so proud of someone that she was coaching that was using video marketing. And I thought it was such a bad medium for the guy because, A, he was not attractive, but that wasn't even it. As unattractive as he was on video, his voice was even worse.
Oh, wow.
He had like some type of a impediment. And his cadence was weird. Yeah. Right? His cadence was different, and I love cadences of all sorts, but his whenever he paused, he sounded like he was sucking in a bunch of air. It's like it's just, and
I'm picturing this in my mind, like what? Who is it? What is this?
So it was just very annoying, like looking and hearing that. It was kind of like, this guy a creature? Like, what is this?
Sucking in air. Yeah. Wow.
It was just like this. Oh
no.
So I was like, listen, your best bet is, I'm not sure if this is the right medium that you should be encouraging this guy to do, regardless if that's your thing. Yeah. But this might not necessarily be the thing for him.
Right, because he's not going to get any business. You know, if somebody sees that, they're going to be like, I'm not going to be driving around no car with anybody breathing like that. I don't even understand what's happening. Not to say he's bad or,
Right. He might be great at what he does, but I'm just saying that was not the right marketing medium, for him.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a for sure thing. If you are a great dresser or, you care about looks or you are a beauty person, that still doesn't mean you're going to win. Because you still have to have systems and processes behind it, or otherwise you're going to be all over the place, still looking good. So, everything has to match. That's why sometimes people who are shy into themselves, they're usually more organized. So they win because underneath the surface, they're doing all the things the right way. They just got to get a few leads in or find that system, and then they kill it silently. Nobody even knows they're over here winning until they build a team. And you're like, where'd you come from? Because they had that inner talent, and they used the strength that they had.
Right. And, and it's not all out there. I mean, I know in real estate, the marketing has become interesting in the last couple of years. I'm seeing everything from like enhancements to, to folks showing themselves in bikinis to everything else.
Oh yeah, it's a reality show like.
Yeah. So it's. What do you think about that strategy for?
Well, here's the thing. I listen to somebody. He always goes, "No shade." So I'll say, "No shade." There are people who are in that culture of the backside enhancement, the boobs, the lips, the crazy big hair. They want to buy from each other, and they got the money to do it. Mm-hmm. So if that's who your audience is, and you like it, it's a good play. For us outside of that, we're like, why is your body like that? But I'm telling you, there is somebody I follow in real estate just to watch this because she kind of has that. And when she's going live, everybody's just saying how beautiful she is. Nobody said a damn thing about real estate in the whole live. But she's selling so many houses.
Yeah, I think definitely it works, and there is an audience. Now, I have a friend that's like that, and she's had some complaints, but I'm kind of like, and what the complaints have been kind of people's aggressive behavior towards her.
As far as attractive to her, being attracted, or just like jealousy kind of?
No, kind of like an attractive thing, almost like an unwanted.
Unwanted advances.
Yeah, and
that's
a
thing.
And I told her, I said, you have to. I said, as crazy as it sounds, and it's not right. But when presentations are a certain way, people are going to react a certain way.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to kind of focus on safety, and just continue to do your thing.
Yeah.
This
is the nature of the. I'm not going to say the beast. I'm just going to say the nature of being beautiful or handsome. Men who are handsome, they get so many advances. They can't even go to a bar without women sliding all kind of things to them.
I know it happens to me all the time.
I have a friend that I've been with him, and people looking at me like, "Are you with him?" I can see in the woman's eyes like. Right. I just need to find out if you with him or not, because if you're not, I'm going for him. And as soon as they find out I'm not, they pull him in the corner. They make deals about him being married. If he's married, I'll do this, I'll do that. It just comes with the territory, especially in Atlanta.
Well, you're lucky that they even attempt to try to find out.
Well, that's true too.
Because the way things are now, they've gotten so bold. They literally will walk over, look you in the face, and try to pass off their number. Or business,
Atlanta
cards are
Atlanta women are ruthless. We are beautiful, strong, and do what we want to do.
Yeah. Atlanta's what they say. Atlanta's not a real place, y'all. It's not a real place. Not a real place. It's not for the weak-hearted.
Definitely not. I would say even for men more than women. The men are like more targeted than women are, I would say.
Yeah.
If you're single and you've never been here before, just make sure you have a friend with you, because you may get a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, definitely. What are the most common mistakes that businesses make in their marketing efforts, and how can they correct them?
Ooh, I think the biggest thing that people do often is they listen to this whole multiple streams of income thing. Okay. And they don't understand what that really means. They think multiple streams of income means think of any kind of business and just keep piling a bunch of them on. I'm just trying to get 7 streams of income, right? So I'm about to sell candles. I'm going to sell houses. I have a plumbing business. I have water. And I also do, podcasting on the side. Now, when you say that out loud to someone, people think you are a person who is a jack of all trades.
Right.
And that is not a good thing. What the real way to do it is, okay, I am in real estate. I'm just going to always keep it to real estate, just because we both know and we can have a lot of things to say about it. But I'm a realtor, but I also have a clothing line about buying your first home, and it's all about I'm a home buyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's your clothing line. And then over here, I maybe do loans now or on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I may do a credit repair company. Like all the 7 streams of income, they need to match.
It needs to be
Synergy, because you want to be able to take the same audience and move them around to different levels of service. And the mistake that people make is they think they're doing that, or they're changing. Oh, I was this for 2 years, and now I'm this for 2 years, and now I'm this for 3 years. Brand is a long game, and the longer you can do it, the more valuable it becomes. Mm-hmm. To the point when you do it for so long, first of all, you become so centered and confident in what you do. Nobody can tell you anything. Like if somebody asks me, "Do you brand?" Like I'm not thinking. This is what I do. This is what I've been doing forever. I just do it. I study it all the time. I watch other people. I learn, and everything I do is based on branding and marketing. Period. But so many times I hear people say, well, I used to do this, but now I do this. And you just don't take them seriously. Mm-hmm. And the people who have branded and have done something for 10, 12 years, who've now amassed money, connections, relationships, they're looking at that guy who changed 6 times. Maybe we started at the same place, mm-hmm. but now 10 years later, I'm not doing nothing with you.
This is true.
Because our relationship we're not the same.
Right.
I don't know what you're going to do next week. I might bring you a $100,000 deal, and you be like, Chad, I'm making shoes now.
Right.
You know, I don't know it's time for that. Right. Look at us right now. You and I have known each other for so long.
Right.
And all you had to do is pick up the phone and say, I need, or I have this. Would you like to? There's no question.
Right. Right.
Everybody is not going to call me and I'm going to be like, I'm going to come on a podcast. I'm not going to do it.
Right.
First of all, do I want to sit and talk to you for an hour? Because you might be talking nonsense.
Right.
So I think there's so much value in longevity of relationships.
There is.
The bigger deals happen at that time. If you can hold on and
mm-hmm.
just stay in your craft, man, if I could just tell you guys, just hold on and just stay there. Their value is coming.
Yeah. Stop bouncing all over the place. You know, you're in real estate, then, you know, now you've gone off, you're selling insurance, you're...
Same game, though. You still got to sell. You don't think you're going to change. I can't get real estate, man. I'm going to go ahead and do... No, it's all the same.
It's all the same. It's not, you know, or you bounce to dispatch trucks because you saw it on TikTok.
Because that is the new thing.
Yeah. Then you come back, or you left real estate to go drive trucks, and you come back 5 years later talking about, yeah, I'm still in the game. No, you're kind of not.
Kind of not.
Yeah, you're kind of not. So I do agree with what Shauna is saying there. All right. So now we're in a different age, right? We have AI is kind of the buzzword. So with the rise of AI and automation in marketing, how do you see these tools reshaping the future of business growth?
AI is a beautiful thing. It is like, if you know how to use it. If you know how to use it. Right. I mean, I think AI works very well for people who want to make a difference in the lives of others, because now you can move faster. You can do it better. You can find your people faster. You don't have to spend a whole day working on a landing page and an email sequence. That thing is done in 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. I just did a class today and showed them, here's your PowerPoint, here's your landing page, here's your email marketing, and we did it in 30 minutes. Now you just got to put it together. And guess what that gives me more time to do? I can go talk to people more. I can be with myself more. Because, you know, sometimes we just grinding so long, we don't have time to just sit there and sit out on the porch and have a cup of coffee with yourself. And you need time to think in business, guys. When I say think, that means you're just sitting there thinking about what's next for yourself. So AI has really opened it up for the average person to be able to do what big people used to do back in the day.
You know how I consider it?
What?
How to simplify it all, pulling back from my old military days. AI is a force multiplier.
Yes. It is.
You know, that is what it is. It's a force multiplier. It will make you a lot larger than the organization that you actually run if you know how to apply it well.
If you know how to apply it well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get
Because
your time back.
Yep.
Get so much back. And you can find out things more. You have a question, I mean, you just type in the question, you can get the information you need to make a better decision.
Yep.
So, but I love force multiplier.
Me too.
It can 10x you
in
1 month.
Yeah.
Where normally it would take a year.
Easily.
So I think people should invest time into learning that thing. I know that people are hearing about it and they're scared because now you got the AI you just talk to in your phone.
You know, you're talking about, it's going to take over. It's been
here.
But here's the thing that people fail to realize, and I think I have now lived through probably an era of the fastest technological advancements that we've had. You know, because as an entrepreneur, my first mobile phone was in the bag. I went through
I remember. When you unzip it and you pull out this big thing.
Yeah, I went through all of the stages. Okay,
you had all the phones
of mobile communications, every single one of them. I went from the bag to the brick, to the flip, to the different flips, the StarTech, the two-way pagers, to the whole. I've been through all of it. The BlackBerry, at every stage, I would say, of technology, whether it's computing, gaming, there's always fear of the computers are going to take over.
Oh, yeah. Remember Y2K?
Yeah. So there's always been that. Now it's the AI is going to take over, right? So the only thing that we have seen so far is machines have made our lives easier, right? And I think that is pretty much where we are with AI right now. I don't think that there needs to be like fear of, the AI is going to take over. I think still the most fearful thing on earth is still man.
Right.
Okay.
Well, what other technology you give them, it doesn't matter. It's the man themselves.
It's the man, right. So what man does with AI, I can't speak to that in terms of where that will lead us, but it won't be the AI that takes over.
No.
I will say that.
Have you done the AI that you can talk to on your phone? I love that.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? You can literally just have a whole conversation.
It's crazy. I think one of the craziest thing, I was listening to a podcast and Will I Am from Black Eyed Peas was on, and he has about 7, 8 AIs that are like that are friends that he communicates with. Like he's talking to regular people, and they can
on the podcast. Like they're talking with him on the thing.
Yeah, he demonstrated.
Oh snap!
On the podcast of how he interacts with AI. And he literally had he definitely had them as like people. They can do anything. Like he demonstrated, he's like, hey, this is such and such. She's my homegirl from London, Brixton. And he's like, hey, da-da-da. And she comes on, she has the accent, everything. And he has regular conversation. Like he asks anything. Like, hey, have you heard this song, blah, 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 blah. What did you think? And the AI can respond like as a person.
As a person.
Yeah.
The other day I had too much caffeine and I was like, okay, what do I do? I think I have too much caffeine. I'm having the jitters. She said, okay, Shauna, stand up. Okay, and she took me through exercises. Okay, now, did you stretch 3 times? Yes, I did. Okay, next. I was like, this is wild. All the way to the end when I felt better. She was like, do you feel better? I was like, I feel a lot better. And I'm like, is this good or bad? I feel like this is a good thing. And I didn't have to call anybody else. She helped me with some real information that's out there about how to overcome too much coffee.
Right.
So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So the AI itself is good. Now, like I said, man, we have to kind of give a different consideration to, and we'll see how that bodes in the future in terms of man and AI.
Yeah.
But I've been checking out, you have this real cool newsletter that you've been doing on LinkedIn. How'd you come up with that idea? What was the motivation?
I was doing research on LinkedIn because I know I want to be a part of it. I know that it's a great place to find my audience and to build a brand long term. And they were telling me about the power of newsletters. I've always saw them, and I'm like, okay. And somehow, I think when you're a marketer or brander, you just get these insights that are like, I don't even know where the idea is brilliant. It's my idea, but I'm also saying it like it came from somebody else.
Right.
But because the book is called 7 Secrets to Brand Yourself, I wanted to have 100 secrets that led to helping people get to the book. But not only that, just giving people small things to do to brand yourself. These are things that you and I do all the time. Like if you're a rhythmic person and you get how people respond to things that are familiar. It doesn't matter. You can leave branding out of it. We just like things to be the same. I like that Callaway's bottle is blue. When I went to pick the bottles of water, I'm familiar with this blue. So I wanted to create a newsletter that was rhythmic, very bite-sized information, not all this big stuff I got to read and I don't even know what I read. No.
Right.
Get a signature fragrance. People are like, that is brilliant.
Hold on. Don't get ahead of me now. Don't get ahead of me. Because what we're going to do on this show is I have taken, like I said, her newsletter is called 100 Ways to Brand Yourself. And I have shown up today with at least 4 tips that she has on the newsletter. I don't think she published 5 yet. I haven't seen it.
I did actually.
Yeah, I missed 5. So she's going to tell us 5. But I'm going to start at 1.
Okay.
And I'm going to kind of ask her to kind of expound on each of these things, right? So the first tip was, she said, the power of a signature fragrance in personal branding. So I want her to kind of talk about that a little bit.
So again, branding is consistency. You want to be triggered in people's minds when their issue hits the fan. Who are they calling to fix it? And so how are you going to be remembered? So we all have been with somebody in our life that we love, that best love, that the sexiest love, or whatever it is, and they had a fragrance. And if that fragrance goes by our nose, what happens? We have all these images that pop up. Oh my God, I remember that person. Oh, that was a good time, Same thing with business, right? There was somebody who was in our real estate connections moment who did that. And she wore the same thing. I knew she was in the room before I even saw her, and it was Chanel number 5. And I thought, imagine if you're always in the same circles, right? You have an audience. You should be building with the same audience for a long period of time. Imagine if you had that same fragrance. Everybody will know you're in the building. Now, hopefully that's a good thing for you, because some people want to be hidden. They don't want people to know. But if you find a signature smell that everybody knows you're in the building without you being there, it's going to trigger either feelings of good or bad. And before they even get to you, they're going to be thinking of reasons they need to talk to you about something. And that'll happen for a very long time. If you keep the same fragrance forever, and I know people are like, but the style, but the this, but the this. What's more important to you? A big brand where everybody thinks about you, or just changing up your style all the time? Because who cares?
What about people that have a natural scent?
We remember them too. And there'll be stories for decades about them. Like, we remember, whether it's breath or whether it's body that's your brand too.
That is your brand too.
Exactly.
That is your brand.
Have you ever had a fragrance that has a story with it? Like somebody that you've been with in your past, maybe a teenager or older, that whenever you smell it, you're like, man, I remember that. Or one for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I think for guys, I think we do. I think we remember wearing certain fragrances and, the impact that it had on whoever we were trying to attract.
Exactly. Oh, you smell good. Yeah. You're like, okay, I got the right one.
Yeah. So, I think that is definitely the case at different ages, too. So, that does happen. Tip number 2, she said, from head to toe, using accessories to elevate your personal brand.
So we all know those people that have the dressing skills that when they walk in the room, you're looking for what's next. Because last time they wore something so fly, you were like, damn. So when they walk in, you're automatically looking to be somewhat mentally entertained by that person. But what that person is doing to you is locking into your brain. And when they have a problem, or if for you do a certain thing, and they have to remember somebody, they're going to remember all those lock-ins every time you walk in the room. Like there's somebody I know, she wears the coolest glasses with the craziest pants. And we all just like, every time we see this woman, she looks a certain way. One time we had a 20-minute conversation about her while she was working on the other side of the room. And so for us, not only did she prove that to kind of like make an impact for us, it's also in her impact in her work. It kind of goes together. So when you build this impactful look, and especially if people come to you and say, every time I see you, you look so nice. You did your job.
Right.
Because you have what we all want, which is respect. Respect equals money. Because that means people are going to choose you. When it's time to choose between 10 people, I'm going to choose the better dresser because I really like her because she's cool.
Right.
So it always wins. So I always think having like a signature necklace or different kinds of necklaces or shoes, you have a signature style there.
Or a clock around your neck.
Or a clock, yes. And we know exactly who that is, don't we? We know.
We know automatically.
You have a signature style.
I like to think so.
I mean, I can't pinpoint on one thing, but I know you always dress nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you have that style, and I think you've earned that respect in the marketplace. But he's probably good in business because look how much detail he puts into his look and how he shows up.
Well, thank you. It took a long time.
Yeah, you did say you didn't believe in matching when you first got here.
No, I knew absolutely nothing about fashion. It's taken many years. But of course, the other part of it is a person's dress and their financial abilities also go together. Because sometimes you can want to do something and you just, don't have the financial ability at the time. Being in college is definitely a good demonstration of that if you didn't come from where your parents had means.
Right. Exactly.
So you kind of do the best you can.
And you can still dress very well without money in business because
you definitely can.
Thrifting is a whole vibe. And you can build a tribe just being an awesome thrifter and then telling people you're a thrifter. You'll create this whole group of people who want to buy from you.
Oh, yeah. Thrifting is actually very smart. And I've been friends with people that, they're on a whole different level with thrifting.
Oh, yeah.
Because they, the key to that is just source, knowing where to source.
Exactly.
And it's not as bad as it sounds depending on where you're sourcing.
Exactly.
For a split second there, we had kind of gotten, and I said we, when I had a wife, had kind of gotten into thrifting and reselling. That was kind of like a project that, that she was doing, that I was kind of helping her do. And then I think the next tip number 3.
Tip number 3.
Is the bottom line of your hairstyle.
Ooh.
Is your look making or costing you money?
Now, I've had a lot of arguments about this. People roll their eyes at me, or girl, ain't nobody gonna tell me how I'm gonna do my hair. I'll do what I want to do. I'm a creative. This is how I express myself. But I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a room because I'll do a style, but then I'll change it in 2 years. But then there's that transition from before to this new style. And I walk in the room and people are just looking at me like I'm crazy. The same people I saw last week. And I don't get the same hug that I normally would because they're processing. They're like, I know that's Shauna, but something's different. And so they can't go all the way in with you until they figure out what is different. Now imagine, this is me knowing somebody, like these are people I know. They look at me like I'm crazy when I change my hair. Imagine a customer who saw all your marketing, everything, and then you show up at the appointment not looking like your picture. That same feeling that those people had to me that know and love me, they're having that same feeling towards you when it comes to signing on the dotted line. You're going to find, tell me a little bit more about what you've done. Do you have any references? Mm-hmm. Do you have anything I can go on your website and go find some other things? They start asking you all these questions. Mm-hmm. They're doing it because you do not coincide with what you told them you were. Mm-hmm. And so unconsciously, their mind is needing more clues to determine who is this person I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. Even though it's the same person, right. But now you got braids.
Right.
My brain is not, this is not calculating out. And so people don't know that that's what's happening. If you have a lot of videos out there and you look the same, and when you show up, people say, you don't need to tell me. I've seen all your stuff. You don't need, we already know. How do we get started? Right. See, that's the difference between being known and looking like the person you've created than not. You will have to prove yourself. So it's up to you. You can change your hair all you want. You may not get the deal in some cases. Or you may be in a coffee shop and you had a big billboard saying you sold or do this, and nobody recognized you in the coffee shop, but 3 people needed to buy a house.
Yeah, it has to be consistent. Not just, well, I'm not even going to say that because the next one is coming up where I'll address that. But, yeah, I was tempted to kind of go somewhere, but I still have time because number 4 is your profile photo. Oh. The silent powerhouse of personal branding. And let me just say, a lot of people have to do better in this department. Yeah. I have had meetings with people that solicited meetings, and they had a particular photo on their email and in all their marketing that they sent me. And I went to the meeting to meet them, and I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I am annoyed because the person is now 15 minutes late. And of course, I see a lady that's been pacing for 15 minutes.
This is great. This is a great example.
And, we've made eye contact a couple of times. She's looked at me certainly like she's recognized me and expected me to say something, but I said nothing. So probably about within the next 2 minutes, I text her. I said, hey, are you still going to be here? I noticed I sent the text, and I noticed the lady across the room looks at her phone. But how am I supposed to know it's you when you're about 7 shades darker in person?
Or maybe 7 years older.
Right. Then, or 20 years.
20 years.
Older.
Or you lost weight, or you gained weight. Like this was a great example because I never thought about when you're meeting somebody.
Yeah.
And you're looking at all this stuff, and you're sitting here, and the person's sitting right there in the chair right there. And you're like, and it is annoying.
Yeah, it is very
annoying. Because by
annoying.
the time you meet them, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just do the right thing and just get me prepared for who I'm going to meet?
I've lost 20 minutes of my time on a meeting that we were both here on time for.
That is good. I have to keep that one. Thank you for that story because I don't know why people do that. I mean, do they think it's almost like being catfished?
I don't. Yeah, it's lazy. I mean, I've had agents that, that I've done business with that the whole time that we've been in the transaction, you keep sending me this. Every time I get an email, I'm seeing your photo. We get to the closing table, and this photo apparently was from 30 years ago. And not only was it 30 years ago, but it was a glamour shot.
Ooh.
From 30 years ago.
So now you're looking at them kind of like this, right? It's like, what happened to you? We're thinking in our minds, what happened to you?
Right. So, yeah, your profile photos, you definitely need to keep those updated because it's almost like you're catfishing out there. Okay? To tell the truth, you're catfishing.
You're catfishing.
You're catfishing.
I saw this woman, she had long blonde hair on her website. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a sharp picture. And then when I saw her online, she had gray hair that was like to here, and it was scraggly. And I'm like, ma'am, you can't do that.
You cannot.
You cannot do that. I know what my number 5 was. That brought me to number 5, the actual one, which is
number 5. Drum roll.
Number 5.
5.
People, can we please get a Zoom background, please? Can we please get out of the closets, the kitchens with the kids running in the background, in the garage? None of these places are where you should be in a Zoom.
Zoom background.
People think that a Zoom is a place to be comfortable and meet. Mm-hmm. But you still have to be professional. And you still want to look like your marketing. If your marketing is popping, you always have great pictures. Guess what? You got to look like that in the Zoom. Because if you don't, we're going to do the same thing. Can you send me a little more stuff about what you've done? Do you have any references? If somebody asks you for references, you really messed up your branding. That is a first indication. If somebody needs samples of your work or references, your brand wasn't strong enough to prove.
Brand wasn't strong enough.
And now you got to do all this extra work when you could have just been yourself and just been consistent, and you just show up and close the damn deal. How do we get started? We waste so much time being confused. I don't know what to wear. I want to have pink hair today, or I want to do this, or I want to change my job, or I want to do this. When just figure out what you want to do, what you love. Get deep into that thing. Figure out who you want to be. It's your opportunity to be whoever you want to be. Mm-hmm. But stick to it, because the win at the end, oh my God, everything is a slam dunk. It's not easy.
Not easy,
but it's a lot easier if someone says, hey, do you know a realtor? I'm doing a development. I have 20 houses. I need one of your best people. I know my people.
You got to be consistent.
I already know who some of those people would be right from the jump, because they already been through 10 years of stuff with me. Mm-hmm. If I just met you last year and you say, why you didn't call me? No.
Verdict is still out.
Yeah, exactly. That was number 5.
All right, so we've covered number 5. So you guys can find Shauna on LinkedIn for the other 95. The other 95, okay? All right, Shauna, so we're going to kind of, what else do I want to know? Can you share a success story from one of your clients where your marketing strategies made a significant impact?
Yes. My favorite story. It's the one I share all the time, because it's the most endearing, and it makes me very. It validated my talent. Sometimes when you get the right client that will listen to you, and it validates what you do. Because a lot of times you tell people to do stuff, they don't listen, and it doesn't work, and so you don't know, like, does this really work?
Right.
This woman listened to everything I said, everything, and she had a dream of, this was the one where, getting investors. She stayed with it. She paid the money she needed to pay. She didn't finagle or do all this change. No, I signed a contract. We need to give it the time to do it. You need to stick with me. Just trust me. I'll trust you, Shauna. 5 years she wanted to raise money for this invention she had. And she didn't make any money for 4 to 5 years, not with investing, just small things here or there. Well, in exactly 1 year, from December to December, she raised $5 million. And she was on and in everybody's speaker thing. Like, she was working with Salesforce, like everybody, Shopify. She was just everywhere. And still to this day, she still has that brand because, and get this, she's a super introvert. So most people will hide and be like, I can't do it because I'm an introvert. Right. She's an introvert, but she wanted to get to the money and to get her dream to come true. So you got to do what you got to do and hire somebody and trust them. If you're not going to trust them, don't work with them, because you're messing yourself up and you're messing that person up. Right. So we're now friends and we're now business partners on things because she's just still a remarkable human. But that's one, and the other one and this is a small one, Peter one time didn't know about Facebook groups. And I was like, Peter, trust me. Just do the Facebook group, because you got this big thing. Now you can take it around the nation and people can talk in this group. Right. I don't know, Shauna, maybe. I'm like, Trust me. This was when Kevin Palmer was still around.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why don't you two lead the group? Start putting your realtors in there. Just trust me, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Within 1 year, that thing was 15,000 people.
Wow.
And Peter was charging people to put their business in the header like 4,000 or 5,000.
Oh, wow.
So, but he's also like this woman. You tell them what to do, and they do exactly. They're not going outside because they do their thing. If they ask you to do it, they listen to what you said. And that thing now is like 25,000 people in there. So, I mean, if you hire somebody, guys, trust them. And if it's not your person, just move on to somebody you trust. And believe me, everything doesn't always work. You just have to, the person has to try a lot of different things before they find the niche. So those are my favorite two stories.
Okay. Those are two great stories. Two great stories. I like that. All right. So now we're getting to the fun part. One of the fun parts of the podcast.
Who got on my nerves during this whole time? No, I'm joking.
And it's a section called Pop Topics.
Ooh.
Okay. So what's your favorite celebrity brand?
Celebrity brand?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like, what celebrities do you think have like just the best brand, that have done the best job branding?
The two people that I think of as far as a female, I think Tabitha Brown. She's done a great job with her brand, and now she had that longevity, right? That long time with that accent, and she's just a caring woman. And now she's stuck to what she stuck to. I'm not eating meat. I'm a vegetarian. I'm funny. I love my family. And she's selling everything but her body inside of Target.
Right.
Like every week. I'm like, well, damn, how much stuff can she sell?
Right.
So she killed the game and is continuing to do it with her family and things like that. And I just love what she's doing. And she brings people into the brand. And from a male perspective, I think The Rock from wrestling to now movies, and he did that through social media. So what people don't know is he studied social media and built, even though he's an actor and he was on WWF, I think that's that thing. He had the brand, but he needed to grow it, because if you have 20 million people on your social media, people got to put you in the movie. Because you bring the damn audience they pay Warner Brothers for.
Well, it's funny that you even said that, because that is one of my gripes right now with the entertainment industry, is that literally they're not even spending a lot of time creating like they should, or taking chances on people that are actually good or great actors and actresses. Because a person that is really great at their craft is both in music and TV and film is now overlooked for a person with lesser talent that has more following on social media.
Unfortunately, at this time, that is what's happening. You know who I'm watching now, and I don't even think he's doing it. Who's this? Aaron Pierre? What's his name?
Yes, Aaron Pierre.
Yeah, he's not doing it on purpose, but he's getting caught up in a wave. I'm curious to watch and see what happens with that, because he's a very introverted type dude.
Yeah,
he's very nice looking and very humble, but he's gotten caught up in this wave.
Oh yeah, he's in a
I
wave
have the
right
song
now.
Aaron Pierre. Da, da, da,
Yeah. He's definitely, like, the ladies have kind of taken him and just kind of catapulted him.
Everybody has him in their arms, and he's looking like, what's happening? But that's the power of social media. Now you can, and also singing.
Yeah.
You know how they used to go to clubs to find people? Yeah. Now they're going online.
Listen.
You go to YouTube to find the next star.
There are so many talented artists right now that cannot catch a break, right? Because they're overlooking all the talent and looking at, if somebody flashes, like, for example, take a look at Jello, the Ball brother, right? Who can't seem to make it in the family trade, which is basketball, right? He can't seem to get it together there, but he made like a song, right? And the song is taken off on social media. And now it's reputed almost over a weekend that Def Jam signed him to a $13 million deal.
Wow.
Right? Whereas like there are cats that have been grinding for years that have the talent, have the gift, and they can't get a deal. Why? Because somebody is in one of those rooms at Sony or Universal, what Warner, wherever, talking about, oh, we don't have the research. He don't have the followers. He don't, you know what I mean? He doesn't have this.
It's unfortunate right now. The followers are the value. And that's in movies. It's in a lot of things. If you go to even in real estate, these high net worth real estate companies that have these groups, they only want somebody on the team who has a following and you have talent, right?
Yep.
Like if you don't have nothing but you're talented, you may not get it over this person who didn't even know how to talk to people.
Right.
But you got 20 million followers. So,
right.
And the thing about social media, guys, and it sucks. I know it's not fair, but we know we just have to get on social media, unfortunately. And guess what? It's free. It's free.
We're at the point of no return. Okay, you can't. Yeah, you cannot ignore. I was at that point years ago where I was just like, man, I don't really want to do this thing. And so I would do like 1 or 2 platforms. And then it got to the point I'm like, it is part of business now.
Yes.
Because literally people started looking at it as your social proof, whether you existed. And people will tell you, well, I looked you up. I didn't see your website. I didn't see you on Facebook. I didn't see you on, so you might as well not be in business.
Exactly. I mean, what drives me crazy is people always want to know your LinkedIn at events.
Yes.
Can you get off my LinkedIn? Like
Yes.
I was all the way in Texas at Afrotech and nobody took my card.
Yes.
Can you open up your LinkedIn? Really?
Yeah. And you know what? A few years ago, I was somewhere with my youngest son, and he struck up a conversation with like a really attractive young lady, and I was like so happy for him, right? And so we were kind of walking off. This was years ago. He was still a teen then, and I said, "Man," "what's going on with you? You didn't even get the number." And he looked at me and chuckled and said, "Number?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Dad, we don't get numbers anymore." He's like, I have her Instagram and her Snap.
Exactly. Exactly. The kids want to do the Instagram. And if you don't have an Instagram, they're looking at you like lame.
Yeah. He said, "I got her Instagram and her Snap." And at the time, I was like, "Her Snap? What is her Snap?"
That's where we go.
It was like Snapchat. I said, "Okay, cool. All right, so I got my one last thing in hot topics.
Okay.
Love or respect?
Oh, I'm a lover. I'm going to say love.
Love, you value love over respect. Why?
Because respect, because my love language is, what is it called? Physical touch. And respect will definitely get me in the room, and it will get me to check. Yeah, it will get people to talk to me a certain way. But I prefer the hugs and the going through things with people and be like, man, we loved that moment. We went through this together. And when you're loved versus respected, you still get those opportunities. I feel like you also get more grace. Because their love for you is so strong, they're going to like give you more chances to make a mistake. This is what I've learned in business. Where respect is great, but it's also a little bit of a hand away from you because I respect you, you did great. But if somebody loves you, they're pulling you closer in, and I need to be closer. And my relationships are love-based. Most of my clients wind up saying, "I love you," and that makes me happy.
That's the perspective.
It is. Your face the whole time was like.
No, it's always you know what? That is one of the most interesting questions you can ask a person.
I agree, because it really made me look at why do I want love more than respect? I mean, if I had to choose, I want both actually, but I'm just, if I'm not getting hugs and people, if I don't hear the word love, I'm just probably going to be missing a lot. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. So what has been the most rewarding part of your journey as a marketing strategist and mentor?
I think the most rewarding part is the loyalty and love that comes with being the same person over all these years and be still staying Shauna the marketer and the brander, and having friends like you call me and be like, you know what, we got to get Shauna on here. I totally forgot. Like, Shauna, get up here. Like, and you walk in a room and you just are valued. And then you also can take that talent and you go help people who don't know you. And now I'm in this phase of teaching a lot.
Me too.
So between seeing all my friends and seeing us stay together and us, we're 10 years in the game. We've evolved. We've gone through divorces and deaths, and we're still here. And we will reach across the table for each other if we have the opportunity to.
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
That is what I feel like life is about, the longevity of it, and then taking that wisdom when you get to that wise part. I don't know how wise I am, but I do know there is a segment that God is now saying, hey, I want you to start teaching people through these vehicles. And so when I go into a room and there's 30 entrepreneurs, because GoDaddy says, here's a free website, Shauna, take them on the journey to do what they got to do. Oh, my God. Electric. And I'm not getting paid for each of those people. I'm just getting paid one thing. But the reward of, man, you just told me something I've been trying to figure out for a whole year. And now I can go do what I'm supposed to do on this earth. Hey.
Priceless.
That's it.
Priceless.
Those are the things I love.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice about business or marketing, what would that be?
I think I would say get around people who are going to pour into you and stay with those same people for a long time. I would have liked to find some wealthy people from the jump and do any and everything they needed me to do. And just stayed with them from day one. Because they would have put me on the game so much earlier. I would have skipped 10 years of nonsense. And that includes marriage. That includes, ones that are rich, wealthy, have great friendships, and great marriages. Like, those would be my criteria, because they would tell you, leave this, because this is going to hurt you in the long run. Don't wait 2 years. So if you don't have that wisdom around you, because sometimes parents don't get involved or they don't know what to say.
They don't want to be
some
involved.
Friends don't tell you either. They just let you look crazy.
Yeah, sometimes friends can't tell you, because if they tell you, it's a risk.
Right.
You may turn against them.
Exactly. So if I could do it over again, I would just tell you, if you're starting in anything, find your 5 people. Find them. Do whatever they need you to do. And stay with those people. Now, they have to care about you, though. They can't just be rich and have those things and not give a damn about you. They have to literally have a heart for, we're going to help this young person. Because that's where you see young people blow up quick. It's because they had that circle. Maybe that circle was their daddy's friends. Most of the time that's the case. Or you grew up on the block, and those guys that had that money, they decided to pull you in because they saw something in you. We're going to help this young guy. So that would be I would tell myself that. And don't leave them, no matter how hard it gets or how much you don't like what they got to say.
And be open to who the people are.
Right. They don't have to look like you.
Exactly. Be open to who the people are.
They most of the time don't look like you.
Most of the time they're not going to look like you. So you have to be open.
Yes.
So, okay. So we talked about stress and things earlier in the episode. What do you do when you just simply can't take it anymore?
I stop. I just stop everything. I try to find somebody on the team to take it over, or I'll push through to as long as I can, and then I immediately go take a vacation. Or maybe it's not a vacation. Maybe I'll just travel, do something that brings me joy, because otherwise that stress could go over the edge, and now you have like something, blood pressure issue, blood clot situation. Like I can't. And if you start feeling that anxiety come in, do something, because that's your body telling you stop. Like today I've had some anxiety about, I'm trying to figure out what it's about. I'm not sure. So what I'm doing is kind of looking around and being like, what's bothering me and what do I need to change?
Yeah.
And what do I need to prevent from wondering what's happening next? Because, you know, anxiety is about you not knowing what the future is looking like. So that means you need to make a stronger future so that you don't have to worry about it. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I try to travel, not as good as you. I'm trying to get like you.
Well, I'm trying to get back to where I was last year because of my brother's illness.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, man.
Didn't travel as much. You know, and then this year we're still kind of trying to pull it together to do something.
Yeah, it's not easy. That's not an easy thing to. As much as you want to come out of it, it's almost like you just have this thing that you have to just let kind of clear away. But it's something you can't put your finger on, and there's nothing you can just say, I'm done with it.
No,
it just stays there like a coat.
Yep.
Until it starts to get lighter and lighter over time. So I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah. Yep. So I know being a mentor is important to you. How do you balance being a mentor while also focusing on scaling your own business?
It's extremely hard. Because if it was up to me, I'd just like to be a billionaire and a mentor. That's what I'd like to do.
Right.
But I'm not there. So I have to build the billionaire side. So it's like, and I love, love, love being a mentor. So, but you don't usually get paid for that. And so you have to be careful. You don't feel like you're doing something, being productive, when that doesn't actually pay the bills. So I really have to kind of write out like what I'm doing for the day to make sure that I'm being productive. Because if I don't write it out or have my goals for the month set, I can easily disappear into the world of teaching and mentoring and helping young people and kind of escape real life that way. So I have to kind of stay in reality and do the scaling and the selling. You know, the selling is the part that we have to change. I just think, this is me, it's not really selling, it's servicing, right? But until you change that in your mind, that you're really helping people get marketing versus selling marketing stuff, it feels like a burden sometimes. Man, I gotta sell this stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm really working on changing that. And some days I am good with it, and some days I feel like I'm selling something. And so that's my little hurdle I'm working on.
No matter what we do in business, you notice how it always kind of circles back to mindset?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, no matter what, we eventually come back to mindset. So, off the top of my head, if you were a tree, what tree would you be?
Now, see, I'm a tree girl, and I love nature. You know, I've often said I wanted to be one of those trees that have, I don't know the name of it. Is it a magnolia? The one that has the pink flowers on it? Like in the springtime, they're like super pinky trees. I don't know, but they're like during the wintertime, they're just like bare with bones. And then when spring comes, they're like got these pink leaves. I think it's a magnolia tree.
I think it's a magnolia? Yeah,
the colorful trees. I would be a very colorful tree. Okay. Or a cherry tree. Cherries grow on trees?
Yeah, they do.
Okay. It was one of those moments I was like, damn, I'm on the
They
microphone. Don't ask a dumb question.
Nope, I've picked some cherries off some trees, so I know for certain they grow on trees.
Oh, yeah. That would be a cool tree to be. What would you be?
Either a cedar or an oak.
I was hearing oak in my head.
Yeah.
The strong tree.
Yeah.
That lasts for a long, long time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Either that or a palm. I like palms because they're not as strong as an oak, but they don't have to be because they bend but don't break.
Boom. That's a good tree to be.
Yeah.
I would be one of those ones in California that's so cool. You know, you're driving down the street and they're really tall. Like, those are cool. Yeah.
Because growing up in Jamaica, them storms would come through, and I would watch those trees just be blown. And, I mean, they would bend. They bend all the way down, but they would never break.
Wow.
You know, so.
That's amazing, dear.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So definitely that. if something was going to happen to you, would you rather be blind or deaf? And if so, why?
I think I'd rather be deaf because I'm a visual person. I would still want to see the beauty. I cannot listen to these fools out here anymore. That's perfectly fine to me. Because I would still like to sit at the beach and see the blue water, the green tree, or like that green chair right there. But if I couldn't hear, if I had to just hear and imagine, I don't think I would be fulfilled. I mean, if it happened to happen, but definitely deaf. How about you? That's a damn good question. I feel like we should have some drinks. We should have had snacks. Like, this is like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is a real podcast.
You know,
life podcast.
I wrestle with that all the time, right? Because I'm looking at what I would have to give up. And I think ultimately I would rather keep my sight. I would probably miss music, but I wouldn't want to lose my ability to see the beauty of the world.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's a tough decision, but when it comes down to it, for me, I'll probably choose seeing beauty. So that would be the choice that I would make.
Great questions, man. I really love them. This is a lot of people don't take the time to do these deeper dives so that the listeners can really know who they're talking to.
Yeah.
Right? Because the question about a tree will tell you more about a person than the bio.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. And
absolutely.
so what matters to that person is like, and that way the people listening, if they choose to want to work with that person, they know what they're getting into. They know that I'm a person that's going to want to hug. Like, I'm going to want to love you. Right. I'm not going to just want to. I'm going to do a great job, but I'm going to be loving kind of person. So. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate the podcast. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Thanks for accepting the invitation to come on.
Yeah.
And it went about as great as I knew it would.
Because we can talk anyway. You take these microphones away, we would be on the phone for hours. I gotta go. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. So this just kind of so happens that we don't have any alcohol present.
that would be amazing.
and we're talking. So yeah, thanks a lot, Shauna. Like I said, you can find Shauna on LinkedIn. That newsletter is on there as well. Once you find her, you can get the other 95 tips that are coming. And as she mentioned as well, she has a book that's dropping soon. What's the name of it again?
7 Secret Ways to Brand and Market Yourself. And I just want to say this about this gentleman. Those 7 secrets that are in this book, I watched him do. I mean, these are my tactics to really building a brand in an organization or in an environment. But I met him when you first moved here or when you first got into real estate here. Yeah. And I literally watched you because I'm an observer. And I watched your whole move of how you did things. And I was like, thinking this morning I got up, he did all 7 secrets. And it worked. So when I tell you the secrets work, they work is from the heart. But I watched him build a brand and become great in Atlanta. And he's still great. And he's still doing the same thing. How long have we known each other? Like 7, 8 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And still an amazing leader with an amazing real estate company. Same thing.
Same thing. So, there's something to be said there too, as we touched on throughout the podcast. Be consistent. Be consistent, value your relationships, and be consistent in terms of how you show up in those relationships as well. All right, that's it. We're out. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Rogue Asset Podcast.